Hello, my name is Aziza Red, and welcome back to CT Time. Got the C and the T. Okay, thank you for joining us once again. Today's subject was actually weighing pretty heavy on my producer's head lately. With all these Battle of the Sexes podcasts that we've been doing lately, unfortunately, these conversations sometimes get misguided. And when I think about it, we all came to the conclusion that men are still trying to figure out what it means to be a man, while at the same time trying to be a particular man for the crowd. So with that being said, my producer came up with this show. It's not his fault. Do men even know how to be men? And today we actually have two beautiful black men here with us. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. He's far away, so we're gonna let him go first. Go ahead. What's your name?
You can speak now. Yep.
I know she was talking to me. Torian Lacey from Augusta, Georgia. I coach my pro basketball. I run basketball camps for the kids. I also am a manager at Papa John's currently, just trying to grind it out. Told my MCR recently, so I'm just trying to, collect all my swag back.
Okay, I feel it. Getting the groove back. And we also have
Malik Stevens. How you guys doing? I'm 25, homegrown from Cincinnati, and right now I'm currently doing music. I'm starting up a holistic self-care business where we make everything organically from head to toe, whether you need toothpaste, shampoo, conditioners, whatever. So that's about to start up soon, and I'm just here to try to...
It's soft. It's soft. Y'all know I was playing. It was like, it was real soft.
This real cotton,
it was
Egyptian
real soft.
cotton.
Wow, I messed it up. It was real soft. I don't even gonna hype it. But I want to say thank you guys for joining me today. And like you guys know, the topic is, as you guys know, the topic is, it's not his fault. Do men even know how to be men? Be sure to support our Anchor page at anchor.fm/CTTime. All right, before you ladies start calling in and commenting negativity, obviously, I just want y'all to understand that this episode isn't about you guys. Well, us. But if you would like one about you, we can do that the next episode for sure. With that being said, Malik, did you grow up being raised by like a father or a male guardian?
I would say I wasn't necessarily. I had a father, but he didn't raise me whatsoever. He didn't raise me at all. He wasn't really in the household, but I did have an uncle who sort of checked in.
When you say your father wasn't in the household, but you knew he was your father, like when he came around, like how was that?
As a kid, to be honest, it was scary. I would be happy at times where he would say he came around and he didn't come around, because it was a lot of anxiety because of the way he came around. He wasn't the man he is right now. So he was he was like a hard ass, he was apathetic, and he wasn't really emotionally in tune. So when it came
versus how he is now, he isn't that way anymore.
Yeah, he's not that way.
Do you respect his change?
A lot, a whole lot.
That's what's up, man. What about you? Did you grow up with a male or father figure in your household?
Yes, I did. I'm 35 years old, and my father has never been further than a phone call away. He traveled for work sometimes, but other than that, anytime I need him, for whatever reason, whether it be to get me out of jail or just needed some advice, I could just pick up the phone. Shout out to you, my guy, for making me through that struggle with having less equipment than we're supposed to.
Do you feel like that might have influenced you to be like a father figure in your community, that male role model? Coming from like a stable household?
Yeah, it did change some decisions I made, because operating with knowing that you have a safety net or somewhere to fall back to, I could always come back to the crib where he always gonna be there for me. It made some decisions different in my 20s, but my grandfather coached the kids and he coached me when I was a kid, so I felt obligated to do the same for the kids around the corner.
Do you feel like having that male father figure in your household gave you a better understanding of what a man should be?
Of course, he gave me the recipe. He still He just had his 67th birthday. He still gets up at 5 to be
Bless his
at work
tongue.
at 6 at the hospital. He's the MRI technician at the hospital. My mom has
awesome.
been worked since like 1995. You know what I mean? So he gave me the recipe. I was just a knucklehead and tried to cut a few corners and get to paradise. But he's always been a stand-up guy.
And Malik, for you, did that have the adverse effect on you? I can't say that he's like a terrible person. I'm gonna just say, because I do kind of know him a little bit. I went to high school with Malik, and you are like a pretty decent man. Like, there's not too many gentlemen around, and I do like having those in my.
I appreciate
Or maybe that's just how you treat me. Because he thought that was funny. But growing up without a father, did it make you feel like you didn't understand what a man should be?
On the contrary, with like during that time of my childhood, I wasn't honestly focused on necessarily the man I was supposed to become or what I was lacking. It was kind of like, I still remember like when he walked out. So like at that time, it was just more so with everything. Like, this is life, you know. But I would say
when he walked out, like, how did that make you feel? Like, in the time, how old were you? Did you know he was walking out?
Yeah, it's more like one of those memories where you kind of don't know if it's a dream or not. I just kind of literally remember him walking out the door and my mom yelling at him, and that's the only memory I have of him being in that household with us, was literally him walking out the door. But I would say, in a way, because of who my father was at that time, I think it actually benefited me that I got to
grow up without that around.
Yeah, be myself more without having like a certain figure who isn't necessarily balanced, trying to impose like unbalanced ideas and misogyny into me. You feel me? So yeah, I would definitely say like I could have used the more organizational structure and like more so the more masculine skills in order to navigate life. But when it comes to like being like a personal human being, I definitely feel like I didn't necessarily need a father for that. And yeah, I answer questions long, my bad.
No, it's fine. I want to hear you out in your thought process. You know, like mature, well-thinking men. Like, that's why y'all here.
Appreciate that.
But now, even though more households are coming together with two parents, it wasn't always like that. You could say that maybe 50% of black homes alone and 30% of white homes were without a co-parent for the millennials. And with those numbers alone, it can be extremely easy to come with the phrase, men aren't jack. But is there another reason you could justify your father leaving?
Honestly, I think it's really the pressure. He had a child prior before I was born, so he has another son, and he was already going through it with them. And when he met my mom and she happened to get pregnant, I think like he was trying to make it work out with her, but he just wasn't in a position where he needed to be. And now he got like 2 boys, and he's not on good terms with either like baby mothers. So I think honestly, I don't think men are inherently neglectful and just, you know, fuck them kids. I just honestly think that it's so much pressure on them that they tend to be more so like, it's like they kind of run away from the pressure. They don't ever forget their responsibilities, but they tend to like ignore them and be ignorant.
I was just talking to a black man in my life, and he was real shook up. He was really emotional about something. He said something and it hit me hard.
What did he say?
He said, I can't take this off. Like, he became a man one day and he can't take it off. I just had to stop, because like, that's serious. I can not be a big girl one day, you know. I can, like, you know, submit myself and get catered and taken care of and all that other stuff, but men, they can't take that off.
No.
You're always supposed to be the man all the time, and that's all we look for, you know. So when you take it off, what are you,
you feel me?
stuff that I gotta get bleeped out later? No, it's sad. You know, it shook me too. Like, dang, you can't take that off.
Nah, and I think this is kind of like going off on a tangent, but I think that's why men try to find their mothers and women, because like we have so much pressures that, damn, I hope I can find somebody that can help reset me the way my mom did, like help provide that safe space, that nurturing.
Well, they better call Miss Doubtfire. Okay. But back to the question though. Do you feel like the men in the millennial generation growing up without their fathers you think that's a good enough excuse to be not sugar honey iced tea because you didn't grow up with a father figure in your household? We know most of them in this generation are, so.
Bit flamboyant, yeah. All right, so my outlook on it is we could go back to the crack era with the introduction of welfare, WIC, EBT, and all that stuff that started to separate the black household, and the hurt that black men feel that many women accepted that deal and got the black man out of the household. As a group, we're still hurt from something like that. A lot of women accepted that proposal from the government. We'll take care of you if you don't.
Why were black women in a position to let another man walk in and take care of their household? Like you said, the crack era, our men were out on the streets getting killed, doing drugs, doing crack, not taking care of home.
I think.
So were they not jacked before?
Yeah, we had to do something as a man in order for women to feel okay to take that proposal and be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? It's information that we don't have and we'll probably never get.
Yeah.
But the removal of the black man from the household is a fact that's in the history books. But when we came back, whatever form we was in, women accepted it. But then y'all was not okay with us wearing skinny jeans. And when I say us, I'm just talking about black. Now I don't wear skinny jeans or man bags or purses or none of that stuff. But when dudes came back, whatever shape we was in, they was cool with it. Then they wasn't cool with it. And women have the right to change their mind. But at the same time, it has to be give and take. There's generational hurt that just hasn't been discussed. And there really isn't no excuse for being who you are, who you want to be. But if you're just watching men on TV or just watching your neighbor cut his grass, you don't really have that 24-hour clock of a man being.
That actually goes into my next question. I was going to ask you, how were you taught the life skills that you know today? Was there a man in your life that was somehow guiding you, or did you have to learn everything on your own? Personally, how to cut grass and how to shave your face and how to speak to a woman?
Oh yeah, well, my father taught me how to tie my wave cap. He taught me how to tie a tie.
When we're talking about people that didn't have that in the household. So Malik, who taught you how to shave your face and speak to a woman and tie your wave cap?
Damn, it's crazy because.
With your friends?
Nah, what's crazy is that when it came to those things, I would call my dad, and he was a much better man at the time, but he's kind of
when you was cutting your face age?
Nah, well, for example, all right, so I had to change a tire, and I'm calling my dad this is my first time, I need to change my tire or whatever. He said, I'll be here. An hour later, I call him, he doesn't answer. Another 30 minutes go by, call him, he doesn't answer. So I had to really grow up being through YouTube. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead. I never held it against them, but in a way I just kind of, I tried to take it as well, if I don't have this opportunity for a father to pass on the torch with some knowledge, I have the opportunity to be a self-made man in this situation and get the knowledge that I need to do it. And then by the time he answers, it's oh yeah, I did this, I got it. You still want to grab beer or whatever, because it feels good to also come to my dad and be hey, I was able to do this by myself as a man, without your help. So I don't take it too personal, but he didn't really plug me. He didn't really plug me. I had to get it out the mud.
So if you didn't have your father around, is there somebody in your community that you feel like you could have turned to do those things that YouTube had to do for us millennials?
Hey, man, you sound like I'm old as shit.
No, but we really the YouTube era, because I had to learn a lot of stuff about myself from YouTube because my parents was turning up. They together, but they was turning up.
We were going on a military base in Germany. If I didn't have something my grandfather was there, my father has 3 brothers. My mom actually bought me my first razor and bought me my first pack of rubbers, and you know what I'm saying. So it was true that. Both of them was kind of, if you ain't got it, I got it type.
That's what's up.
My papa was on the road for 3 or 4 years during the high school, between middle school and high school. He was still a phone call out though, but he just wasn't in the state, you know what I mean? So I don't wake up and see him every day. There were still things I had to call him for. and ask them. But it takes a village. Like that's a real thing. Like my neighbor was military. The 3 guys that grew up across the street graduated like a year or 2 before my sister. You know what I mean? And like where I stay at, it's everybody always play ball together. We always try to look out for each other and keep each other safe.
I feel that.
But next, basically, we have the who raised you question. And the answers can be shocking no matter who you ask the person, as long as they're being honest. If this isn't the 70s, if any man wanted to learn how to fix a car, fix a sink, or even how to do their taxes, they would mostly get a job that helps them to do just that. Now, there are a few exceptions to the rule, but compared to the many ways it's making a man lacking in what he considers his role today. So I think my producer is basically asking, like, do you feel like less of a man because you didn't grow up knowing how to tie a tie or put checkers into the lawn?
That's a good question.
Can you change a tire?
Yeah.
Can you do oil?
I know how, but I haven't done it yet. I know how. I've even like changed my alternator with a group of men from my hood because I didn't know how to do it by myself. Like,
You know where to put the windshield wiper juice?
you said you know how? Hey, you a real that? Hey, that belt, that shit is so annoying. Excuse my language, y'all.
You know how to put the windshield wiper juice in?
It's very.
Dang, that's the only thing I do know.
Look, y'all.
I keep my windshield wiper juice filled up.
Hey, that's, oh God.
Most complicated is like James Dawson.
But how do you feel just watching these young cats not know nothing, man? Do you feel like they would be any less of a man, or even just the men in your generation? Do you feel like they stand toe to toe with y'all?
Well, me being an old school cat and not approving of things like skinny jeans, too much auto tune on the track, or just the short attention span that they have. Period. Like I don't feel. Like, and that's not a diss. That's
I agree.
We felt it.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I agree with you. Versus, well, the skinny jeans thing, like, you know, fashion gonna be fashion because, like, back then when you was like in your 20s, like it was the baggy jeans and man, you feel me? So fashion always gonna be fashion.
The straight leg jeans that was a big wide cylinder.
Man, you could barely see the shoes.
Like, just me personally.
How did they know they was shorts?
Carpenter jeans with my polo boots, or you know what I'm saying? I'm a regular cat, Air Force One, white tee.
So you feel like the skinny jeans make you less than a man, basically, and the man purses and the lip piercings and the patches and whatnots.
No, I know, like people.
They all in our section.
It's like you get to express yourself however you feel appropriate. You know what I'm saying? It's a judgment-free zone. You know, that's not what I'm here for. But when you try to like be a gangster and put a pistol on your hip, but you got some neon drawers on with some skinny jeans on, you can't even hold your strap right. You know what I'm saying? You can't even run away properly from the.
Yeah, they put it in the little satchel nowadays.
Yeah, you gotta put it in the purse.
Man.
He said, I got a Glock in my purse.
It's a little silly, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, fashion gonna be fashion, true enough. And like we're starting to repeat ourselves. Like cats used to wear leather vests with no shirt and furs. And
man, the heels, all that.
Dang.
Flash and the Furious 5. The outfits was crazy.
Man.
It get to a point where enough is enough, and it get ridiculous. When you pass that ridiculousness line, like Rob Bearden, like it gets unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like the modern gangster ain't all that gangster to me.
You know what though? I think the reason why like those trends tend to get followed is because men try to find themselves through the men on screens, and we're surrounded by screens a lot of days. We carry screens with us, whether it's our phone, computer, TV. Like we tend like that reflection is always in front of us.
Hey, I thought this was so funny. So you guys know the Bad Girls Club, right?
Yeah.
Bunch of bad girls, we all in the house. Well, just recently they just released a Bad Boys Club.
Yeah.
And it was crazy, but it was really funny to me the straight men that were there. It was probably only 2 of them, but it's crazy listening to the straight men describe themselves the same way that the gay men describe themselves. And then they had such a problem with the gay men in the house. Y'all wearing the same clothes, y'all got on the same purses, and y'all all bad boys, but you straight and you want them to stay away from you. Okay. It was bad.
It's strange, right? Like the line.
Like you don't realize you look like Trade. Like okay, keep painting your nails.
It's strange to me, you know what I mean?
But my next question is, do any of you guys own property, own a car, or have rent in your name? A lease in your name? Obviously, you probably have some stuff.
I have bills, but I don't have a lease in my name. But I have experience with like property ownership through my uncle. Like he was actually, I would say my uncle was definitely like the father figure that I needed in my childhood. But he, like, because he had so much to do, he wasn't there all the time, but he wanted to be. Like, it got to the points where, like, we'd be out in public, and, like, women would walk up to us and be like, oh, your son look just like you, and we'd just go along with it. Like, my uncle, he always wanted a son. He got all daughters, and, like, I always wanted, like, a cool father like him, so it kind of worked out, like, in a way.
And that auntie, uncle, auntie relationship hit different. Like me and my nephews, we be rocking. I be getting them hip to some stuff that don't tell my son about this. But I'm telling my nephews about it ASAP. But I asked that question because So claimed that. Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking, did you have any property or rent in your name, own any cars?
I did at one point, but we all fall from grace at one point or another. I was coaching middle school basketball for Carolina, and I tore my MCL, so I couldn't drive back and forth from work. So I got evicted from where I was staying at, and I had to come back to my folks' crib, the safety net I was talking about earlier. My car transmission recently went out. The insurance was in my name. That's gone. I don't have a pile of bills, you know what I mean? So it's a little, like half and half, one for them, one for that.
Gotta throw some salt over your shoulder.
Bro, it's all good. Blessings are coming.
Hell yeah.
Right.
So that stuff's definitely coming. And like you said, you did at one point in time. Shoot, there's no start point or end point in life, you know? You still thugging it out and you still being a great person the whole way. So that's good. But I asked that question because the housing ownership in millennials has risen to 48%. But yet when you look around, it's mostly a party of people living in a house that's being rented. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but there aren't really many millennials buying houses by themselves anymore. And in that sense, we're still behind on setting the foundation to break those generational curses that we need as far as like property ownership in the black communities, more things in our name, land, LLCs, actually investing in ourselves and one another because we don't own that property. We're just giving that money to somebody else.
Yeah.
And to be 100% honest with us, your ex probably isn't watching this right now. Is your what? Why would you snuck that in? I did not see that earlier. He be having me misty in here. Okay. Oh, sheesh. Okay. Ray wants to know. Okay. What's your running count?
What's my what?
He snuck this in here. Ray would like to know Malik's body count. It's in the thing.
Just say if it's high or not.
Is it high? No, what's high? What's high for a 20-something-year-old man?
In your opinion.
Isn't this when it should be high and then he's not
what's body count? The amount of times you've had sex, or how many different women?
How many different people?
How many different people? In your opinion, do you think you have a high body count?
No.
He gonna be in it and like then I feel like he got a high body count.
I said be 100% honest.
I feel like everybody
I don't think I have a high body
10.
count. Yeah, it's more than 10.
Is it more than 15? Is it more than 20?
No, it's not more than 20.
Is it 18?
It's like probably in between 15 and 20. Like, you feel me? But it's like from, all right, so I lost my virginity at 18. So from 18 to 25, it's so many months.
Dad wasn't around.
I'm doing that.
But I feel like when he's around this age, when men be high around like 17 to 25, that's when they getting it on.
The thing is, though, it's not like my body count is increasing. I tend to stay safe.
All right, we're not here to sell you pills. Let's also ask this man this uncomfortable question.
It sounds like we about to go to a BlueChew.com commercial.
You feel me? I'm just, it was snuck into my script. But, yeah.
This is not something that I wrote down. But,
is it consistent?
I was fairly handsome, but I was in relationships and I never cheated before. Let's just say that I'm decent.
Let's ask you a realistic question, a realistic, mature question. What's the highest number of women a year that you've had?
Why ask me that one?
You don't got enough years yet.
8.
8?
8 a year? That's decent.
That don't sound
That's
like a lot.
responsible.
I'll say for me, it's like
He was
3.
an athlete. He could have been.
Just a right. He famous.
Anyway, it's pretty hot here, you guys. Let me find. Anyways, I guess you don't want to talk about it the way Malik wanted to talk about it. So, well, anyways.
You know what I'm saying? Like after the injuries, I gained some weight, but like when I was.
Do you feel like your current body type is high? Do you feel like your current body count is high compared to the people in your age group? I'm gonna stop saying age group. Do you feel like you get more than your friends? I guess that's the question.
I mean, we all did our own thing in our own time. Like,
He being modest. He got people watching.
Yeah, I wasn't the most handsome out the group, you know what I'm saying?
All right, this next question then. Do you feel like you've satisfied all 8 of those women though? The pressure. Yeah, definitely.
I used to be married also, so like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, oh God.
This is not an interview. Do you feel the same?
I know the same. I ain't even trying to sound cocky. I'm not trying to sound cocky, but I'm a very generous man. I'm a very generous man.
Facts. Like I got blessings. Yeah, you know what I mean?
My pearls.
This ain't the show for that. It's a whole other podcast.
Oh shoot.
But I got some dirt.
Sir. That was not on the list of questions. Thank you for that. His social media is up there, I'm sure it is.
Shameless plug.
Feel free to add them on Facebook. And to follow us down here below at CT Time on all of these platforms. All right. Now, as my producer wrote this, he didn't know the answers that the guest speakers were going to give. And only they can tell you if they're lying or not. But what I can say is that more women of the millennial generation and above have been claiming that they are dissatisfied and more so unfulfilled in their bedroom adventures. And take it how you want it, but I will also say that oddly enough, there is still a higher number of men that believe that they know how to satisfy a woman and that they don't want to hear how to satisfy their partners, leaving both sides no time to figure out how the other partner is romantically, you know. But we were actually talking about this earlier, and they what were we talking about? I had asked them if they had ever made any of them old school sounds. And they was like, they told me no. And I'm like, oh, what, you gotta talk to somebody 40 plus to hear every now and then, like, what's up?
I know. Yeah, that's what that is.
I need one of them to get released every now and then. You feel me? You don't hear that no more.
I'm silent, but
because they're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're not doing that.
Apparently, women these days be like, why guys don't make noise or whatever.
Or why y'all not obsessed with us no more? Like, what? You supposed to faint. He said faint.
On you that go like 10,000 RPM. You know what I'm saying? So like how we supposed to?
Man, you feel me? We done. Hey.
Roshan is your friend, okay? Not your enemy.
Yeah, y'all putting something like this big inside of you. Bro, in the street.
I heard the Rose can suck it now, bro. I heard the Rose has this.
Well, I can't fuck with Backdoor Becky.
We ain't said you
Them
could.
$40 bitches got needs of steel.
We ain't said you
I'm
could.
sorry, I got Bleep this out.
I got a question though.
What's up?
So,
We also had standards.
like with with a lot of women coming out more that they are actually dissatisfied with their sex, is that more so because, like, what if this whole time the statistic has always been low because women were more so, I would say, more so ingrained and not necessarily forced to be more submissive, but because like 70s and 80s times, like,
You have to pretend like your man was the best. There's some other chick.
yeah, you feel me? But like, what if things actually have gotten better? It's just more so women are more open and honest because they're
Because
allowed
like
to be.
most women, like between the ages of 40 to 60, have never gotten fellatio before. And they think
Damn,
it's
that's crazy.
nasty to even have a man down there.
Man,
I think the
eat
women
y'all
these
women
days
out.
are just like, like we normalized freakiness. If anything, millennials didn't normalize being a freak. Like, we don't come out at night. We see you at brunch, so it's like,
But think about when I was
it's
4
like
years
if all of
old.
this stuff is normal, if we having like porno lifestyles in our house, and then we come out and somebody just wants to be like regular, yeah, I'm dissatisfied. Where's the rope? Like, what the fuck? You invited me here? No.
I think we've been conditioned though, cause like
It's
if
crazy.
you think when we was young, like growing up with all the music, like when I seen music videos and all that, and I'm 4 years old, like
Maybe
I knew
wet
I was
chicken.
turned on, like so I'm seeing, I knew that I liked women when I was young because I was turned on and stuff like that. So like I would blame it on
Can I
media.
ask you why you decided to wait till you were 18? Which
Well,
he
it's-
previously disclosed.
It's not that I don't know if my mom watching this.
Nobody
She
would
my
touch
Facebook
you?
friend. But no, it's people wanted to touch me. I just didn't have a time and a place.
He been handsome, y'all.
Mom, I didn't bring nobody home. I respected your rules. But yeah, that's the only reason why. The only reason why is because I didn't have the time. I wanted to have sex. I wanted to have sex, but I just didn't have the time and the place.
We all just had quiet flashbacks. We got
Yeah. I used to be on bricks,
you had the
second
same
bill.
face I had. We both was like, and our little thought bubbles. No comment, man. Would you mind me asking, how old were you when you lost your innocence?
I was in 8th grade. I was about to turn 14. Well, the summer going into high school is when I first got off the leash and was like let go into the world of ladies. Got us some practice. Wasn't all that good at it at first, firing off round early, but we had it for the best of us.
Yeah.
And it's been a journey.
That's awesome.
But, would you say that like, how did that play into like, how'd you feel about yourself and like coming into manhood, losing your virginity at 14? Like, did you kind of feel propelled?
Felt like big
into it?
dog, or did you feel like, ew, what next?
Well, to make a long story short,
He giving Kid and Play vibes.
That's terrible. Like the first 2 performances was just out of pocket. I was bang bang, like it was over with before we even started.
But you did it.
Yeah, they got to find a lady to practice with a little bit, so just in case, you know what I'm saying. But I felt because of like the tip drill videos and the loop videos and the Freak Nick 99s and what I'm saying, all that shit. Like you needed certain things to be a man in the eyes of society over time, and like the criteria changed throughout generations. You know what I'm saying? Like getting busy. Or on the bus or doing something, to have a story to tell your friends,
Yeah.
to be like the cool person was, that was just some real shit back in the day, When I say back then, I sound old. That's just how I graduated in 2005, and that feels crazy.
Oh, 5.
Still millennial. Just
That's when it was starting for us. Hey.
Yeah, my
quit.
bad. Like, when I say back in the day, just make it like a 15-year reference.
Yeah, I feel it. We not gonna age you.
Like the requirements to be cool and be a man, and I felt like that helped me.
When that happened, did you talk to your father about it?
I came home with a different smile on my face. I was like, and like we looked at each other like he knew and I knew. I was like, I did. You know what I'm saying?
So with you being a little older when you lost yours,
You know what I'm saying?
when you being a little older than you lost yours, like when you came home, were you still feeling that magic?
All right.
Yeah, he probably got
It was just like it was just more so the shock, like, dang, I just got some, like, you know, it was cool, but the situation itself, I didn't, you know, necessarily come my first time, like it wasn't that good for me, so like, yeah.
Dang.
But I mean, it was still
His
exciting.
first time
like,
was with a big coochie.
you know, I don't remember if it was or not.
Great, so he had a little coochie. You waited long.
She did have
a big coochie.
Yeah,
You ain't about to diss no ladies here.
look, yeah,
I can say it. I can say it. But if it's your first time, shouldn't it be? I quit. This is safe space. This is safe
I ain't gonna
space.
say nothing. If you watching this, you know who you are. She said it.
sorry.
Not me. You do not have a big coochie. I'm sorry. I don't know why she said
It
that.
was home. Chill. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
I do appreciate
He was grateful.
appreciate you, man, coming in on this show, like just being brave enough, like to actually have this conversation.
If you guys don't know, that's my producer, Mr. McCall, speaking.
Yeah. For real, this is a heavy talk to have. I know, again, there's been a lot of podcasts coming out about the balance of sexes, what a man should be, what a man shouldn't be, all that stuff. But like having a safe and open conversation, like, bro, like it wasn't all laid out for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have to have these talks sometimes. You know, there's like a lot of women saying men ain't, and you know, we can't really defend ourselves.
But at the same time, like as a woman, you know, it's only so much you can expect and accept.
But it's
Like,
just an assumption of like listening to the rap music. They'll never like try to take in like what's happened to us the last 15 years. You know what I'm saying? We've had to push our emotions down. We can't express ourselves fully without coming off as ornery or cantankerous. If a black man raises his voice, oh, he drunk, oh, something wrong with him, oh, he on drugs, like we can't, there's not a lot of avenues for us to even talk properly without somebody trying to judge us about what the topic is.
one thing I am trying to make like really important in our community is normalizing male anger, normalizing black anger. Just like you said, you all should be allowed to raise your voice and everybody not lock their doors and be afraid, you know? But like at the same time, like me as a woman just saying that this man wasn't in your house to do this and this man didn't do that and now you're whatever you are to the world or to the women around you, that's not fair to us either. Like I could have been raised in a brothel by a whole bunch of hoes and I'm expected to be my own woman and to put on my big girl drawers and to handle my responsibilities, man, no man, whatever, you know? So how can I like baby you for not wanting to take responsibility or for narcissistic behavior when that's just nature versus nurture and you decided to live in your pain? We all make a choice. You can live in it or you can overcome it, you know?
Facts.
On that note, you guys, I do have a short conclusion. Like Ray was saying, this convo might have been a battle of the sexes conversation, but this was also a nature versus nurture conversation. And for men, a lot of our behaviors, well, a lot of your behaviors are nourished through your feral nature, and not saying that you guys shouldn't know better, but there are also times where you just truly don't. And for those that do know better and don't do better, this conversation was not defending you. Ladies, if your partner truly knows better and decides to not do better, you may have to come to a heavy decision about him and the people around him. Do you have the patience to teach him? Do you have everything he's trying to learn? Again, this talk isn't to defend the ain't men, but this is a talk that'll help build the understanding between both sides. Not everybody comes from the same background.
Y'all job though, right?
Hey, I got a question for you, bro. Do you think you would have been the same man without the father that you had? Do you think you would have?
Not, because I would have had to ask somebody else a particular question, and I would have got different answers.
True
and
that.
Those answers would have changed my idealisms throughout everything. You know what I'm saying? Like the answers my pops gave me is what made me as dope as the person I am. Like, I've been like shirt off my back. When I ran those basketball camps, for instance, like I paid for all those out of pocket, and I didn't charge the kids nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody don't do that. You know, things like that. Looks like she had a question for me. Did you want to comment on my comment?
But back to what you're saying, that it's women's job to help finish raising men and to teach them how to be men. I mean, that's what I was saying, and then you're saying that, like, ain't that our job? I do really believe that, I think it's sad, really. Maybe it's just because maybe I shouldn't be dating in my age group at all. And that's the problem with women today. And I am technically anti-women's rights because I feel like I would love to be a housewife. I would love to be led. I would love to like have a man that I believe is like everything to me, that I would not want to do anything but fold his drawers and be his therapist and talk to him and hold him and cherish him. But that's not the world that we live in. I'm living in a world where he wants me to be his equal and he wants to know that I can pull the weight that he pulls. And I can't be your therapist. I can't be Miss Doubtfire while you're wanting me to put on my fucking shield and armor and be you. You know?
I will say that's definitely unfair to ask if they can't reciprocate that. Like, here, I'm here so you can unpack to me and stuff like that.
Like, if that's the case, I'd date another girl if I need an equal. But so you guys want me to be your equal, you want me to finish raising you, you want me to be your therapist, you want me to cook, you want me to clean, and you want me to pull some weight, you know? So now who's the leader of the household?
We both
Sounds like I am if I'm doing it all.
50-50, but both parties are supposed to give.
It's not 50-50 if I also have to be the nurturer. That's a job. Turning houses into homes, putting window treatments up, making sure this place is warm for a life, for a family, for all of us, you know? That's a job. So if you're putting other things on my plate, then that means my plate is higher than yours. See, that's the problem. If I try to be your equal, my plate is higher than yours. If I try to do the things that you do and the things that I just naturally do, whether I had a mother or not a mother, my plate is higher than yours.
When you say
scenarios, though, because a man's supposed to provide, protect, and we know the list of the things that a man's.
But I gotta protect too now. I gotta provide too now. But I also gotta do all that soft stuff, you know, and I gotta do all of this, you know, and I gotta decorate the house, right?
At the same time, that comes with the new generation of guys needing different requirements. That's what that goes back to what you was asking me about earlier. Like a lady, as far as therapists, I don't need therapy every day.
But that's my job. That's my job about being the woman that submits by you. That's being your therapist. That's me listening to you. That's me making your problems my priority because the ship doesn't run if you have problems. So yes, I'm your therapist. Put it on the plate.
So you agree with me that it's partially a lady's job to help us get over the.
I would love for it to be our job. I would love for that to be my full-time job, but unfortunately, I got my armor on right now. So I'm focusing on other stuff instead of living in my nature.
I mean, we've all been hurt before. You know what I mean? I respect that. But the independent woman has been on the ride. Like over the last 2 decades, we can admit.
I just said I'm team no women's rights. I said I want to submit and all this other stuff, but this just my reality, you know. They don't do that no more.
Situation that a lot of ladies are put in.
I was supposed to stay with my mama till some nigga proposed to me. I'll be waiting there forever.
Yeah, it's definitely like.
I need my own house.
I would say that the dating culture definitely changed, and with. Honestly, I really don't know where men's heads are at in terms of like setting up for their life traditionally when it comes to like setting a foundation, you know, going out, providing a house and all that. Like at least a lot of men that I've seen on my like in school, in high school and all that, and the men that they became, like they weren't ready for real, and I don't think they really truly had they didn't necessarily have the fathers that they had, and because they didn't have the fathers that they had, the figures that was in their life, like their friend group and all that, they just kind of toxically grew together. And I think that's what happens with a lot of like communities when it comes to younger black males, for real. Like I said something, my dad was trying to have the Birds and Bees talk with me one time, and like I was getting offended because I told him no, you good.
And I'm sorry, you guys. You got like a half a minute to wrap it up.
Okay. But like I was basically telling him, like he was basically trying to ask me, like because I was telling him I wasn't interested in women at the time and stuff like that. He was asking me questions like was I gay and whatnot, and I got offended because it was like it felt like he was attacking me, and then on top of that, we didn't have that relationship for him to really like you know, becoming that